regarding the names,
Mm-hmm.
as they're more experienced. Match 2 as well, kind of, but I would say it's not going to be next to that tier. Those are gonna matches going to be coming up soon, but we can check out some of the players who were currently played or who were eliminated. We had this new fancy scene now. So Heave, Parenwecker, Auris, Nico, Louis, Strick, Brawley, and Loudest were eliminated. They managed to place 9 to 16, so they'll still get that one FastPoint in the end. But we'll see how it will end up for the rest of the top 8. So the winner will get a small, like, let's just say, symbolic prize money with 10 USD. But the main thing is the FastPoint points that players want in the end. So that will be the thing that players really want to get. Well, slowly the things will be, I'll just say, moving towards.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I think it's just good just to get a point in general. Obviously, where it will lead, we'll see in the future, right? In the things to come. But regardless, right? It's a good promise of things to come. Getting this point in, obviously, every month we'll be having these, so plenty of opportunities to get points, even if you didn't get them this time around. Even if you didn't get as many this time around, if you're one of those players from number 9.
There's gonna be, I can say this, for each region, there's gonna be, in this current FastPoint season, there's gonna be 3 rated events that will give the FastPoint points. So definitely the monthlies is the one way. There's gonna be, since for EMEA, there's gonna work a bit differently, but I can have a small wing that for APAC, it's gonna be AOTC that will also be a rated event, and for America, it's gonna be the American Open. So small wink for that, maybe a bit of a leak as well. But yeah, either way, we're actually going to our semi-final. We're going to be watching the semi-final 2, which is going to be the match that we'll be going to be observing within this scene. So it's going to be between the 4 of the players that we did not witness. So the other matches being played at the very same time. So we have Bosbes, Kiro, Azion, and Imot in this match, as other players are playing out their match on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, we get the second part of the Emot gang. Very curious to see how he will be performing, coming in second place with the quarterfinals. Bosbes having first in the match that he was in. As we are live right now, Kiro at the moment in the lead, Azion second place. But we do see how close they are. Only Emot at the moment not in the pack for the running for that first place. Azion really trying to get away from everyone, and so far succeeding quite well indeed. Bosbes going wide, allowing Kiro to overtake, sniping away second place from Bosbes, but Azion holds on firm, fast to first place, picking up 10 points with a 42. Oh, I mean, that is pace. That is pace right there.
Yeah, still, like, keep in mind, this is the semifinal, so we do see some of the top players who managed to go through the qualifiers. Let me triple check the full list of how many players did manage to play in the qualifier. So in total, there were, in the qualifier for this event today, there were 71 players who showed up for the qualifiers. It was quite strict because the top 16 were who did manage to make it. For the next month, we will probably increase it to like 32 or 64 to give like more chance for more room for other players to try themselves out. As on this round, we have Imot, the original, actual Imot, having a mistake as soon as they start spectating, allowing Azion to go in the top. Actually, Bosbes is a bit of a separated field this round, as Azion does take the dub in this round with a 42-1, very solid time. Bosbes in second, Kiro in third, and Imot in fourth.
Yeah, Azion looking very comfortable on the track. I mean, we expected, being the only player, at least with an online time, having of a 41.9, and with that, the fastest time having been set on this track so far. And you can see it in his best time as well, right? A 42.07. He looks very comfortable, getting first place twice in a row already, and like not really being that challenged just yet. See a mistake coming from Kiro. Falling behind because of that, left with 3 players at the front. Bosbes taking the lead at the moment with Emot and Azion side by side right behind him. Bit of a downhill error on Bosbes' side, allowing Azion and Emot to then shoot forward. It's a great back and forth happening right here, and it's going to come down to this final turn to see who will have the most exit speed and picking up that first place. You see actually Bosbes slowing down a bit, allowing Emot to overtake on that second place, but Azion holding on to that 10-pointer first place with a 42.3. Not his fastest time, but enough to pick up another first place. Three first places in a row. He's going straight for 40 points on our first map.
Yeah, very solid times. Point ones are pretty solid times overall. Actually, very solid rounds as well. Not that many mistakes as I was expecting. So we're starting to see a quite solid consistency coming out, especially from the top 8 field of the monthly event. So at the moment, currently watching here, all 4 players are literally in the same pace. There's like, it can go either way at the moment. So it all comes down on who gets that small micro optimization. Zama doesn't get the best line, gets tossed out of the loop a bit. Kiro doesn't get that great an oversteer, even allows Imod to overtake. Wasp trying to put, gets a nice inside line for MVM, plus that grass wiggle at the end, and managed to snipe Bossbez. Azia managed to snipe Bossbez at the very end with only 200ths of a second at the end, getting a better line and securing a full sweep of the first map with 40 points in the end.
Great start for Azion there. It's kicking things off, setting up 40 points, ahead by 16. And I mean, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're hoping for. Any player would love to have that going into the next couple of tracks. And maybe those won't go as well, but it's great to know you've got that ace up your sleeve, right? Knowing that this is going to be map number 4, and I would expect that we'll be getting close to finalists at that point. I don't think we'll have a finalist unless somehow Azion just keeps taking these first places over and over and over, which, it might happen. It could happen. But definitely something great for him to look forward to. And it's really up to the other 3 players, Bossbez, Imot, and Kido, to start making up some distance, start hammering away at that lead that Azion has built up. I mean, we do see in terms of points, right, 40 points for Azion as expected, as you do come in 4 first places. Bossbez on 24, and Imot and Kiro at the moment tied for 18 points. So definitely still some room for that second place, but it's really gonna either be Azion just totally messing everything up on this track on custody, or somehow it's gonna be a fight for second place. Right now it's looking for a fight for second place, but anything can happen really.
So some things to note, that Azion from the qualifiers was number 2 seed, Bossbez was number 3 seed. So the second and third seed are already meeting in one of the semifinals, so definitely starting to place based off according to the placement. So they're definitely the favorites. However, the match is definitely favoring Azion quite a bit. So there's despite them being the 2 and 3 seed currently leading the field, it's still really close in the way how they're done. Azion had a very solid start on the first map, but a small mistake right now is definitely not giving him the best favor. I'm not getting that sick, as I said, that small trick that you want to do on that Sparse that gives a bit more exit speed at the very end. So it's a very tight fight. It can be anyone's game between Imot and Bossbez. Tries to get a stretch line. It's going to be Bossbez taking with a 0.83, very solid rounds time as well. And one thing to note that Kiro was in seed number 7 and Imot was seed number 11, so they managed to pull a small upset over Nico, who was seed number 6 in the quarterfinal. So that's why we saw some changes here and there. And I think overall the craziest upset what happened was in match 2 from quarterfinals, where Streak and Parenwecker didn't make it, and despite Stuffs being the lowest seed in that match, he managed to win it.
Oh yeah.
Like, the field is so close, so seeding is just gives micro changes, as this time it's another solid round that we're looking here for.
Definitely solid round, already halfway through. We do see Azion this time around having a much better start than he had during the previous attempt. Kido this time trailing behind on 4th place, and it's a fight between Imot and Azion right now for 1st place, as Bossbez is just slightly a bit too far behind to really make anything happen, but Azion holds fast, holds his lead secure, picks up 10 points, and Imot 7, Bossbez 5, Kido 3. Does look like Imot is the one to start to get away from that 3rd, 4th place tied, and bringing the fight to Bossbez for 2nd place right now. As Azion still in the lead, 14 points, especially with him picking up 1st place like that again. It's very, it was a bit wonky, maybe a bit of extremes, right? You do have those types of players that are all or nothing, right? They'll come in either 1st place or dead last, just because of the way they drive, right? Just because of the way they approach a track, any track really. And right now it is that type of extremes for Azion, though. Right now, fighting with Boss Best for first and second place. Curious to see if he'll be able to overtake him right here. Oh, well, there you go. That does it. You hit the wall, it slows you down. Just newsflash, walls, they reduce speed. Unless they're plastic walls, in which case, you know, they're pretty good for speed, but not this one. There's no plastic walls to hit in this in this one.
So what happened there?
Why is it that I talk about a player that they start crashing?
Yeah, it's like it's a so good old curse. Let's just say like that. It's like in any game. It's such a common pattern that happens. That's one thing to note there, that Bospez actually really tried to push it. Like I said, like this map is so simplistic in its structure that you just risk for those micro adjustments. Everyone goes for that outside line. Everyone tries to just optimize as much as possible. And due to that, some of those micro mistakes pop up, especially from this drift on the upcoming end part, as they try to like just use all the space they have to just give that minor advantage coming out in the end. So all the players getting this map. So let's see, one player didn't manage to get it immediately. He's just put a bit back of the field because it just started to snowball so much. It's such an insane round so far. ASEAN is dominant, but the real fight is for the second place so far. And it looks like it's gonna be Bosbez actually taking it. 0.73. Okay, that's very fast. The loser of that round did a 0.87. So
that's ridiculous.
The loser of that round did a 0.87. So very some solid stuff.
Definitely. It's a great end of the track as well, right? Just so close, but it says a lot in terms of where the pace is going right now as well, right? 40, you got 0.7s, 0.8s, really determining the rankings. I mean, a 0.8, I for my life cannot drive 0.8. All right, there's no way I can do that. And then just to see like that is good enough for 3 points is it's definitely a good example of how skilled these players are. Right now. And I mean, it's to be expected, right? You don't get into the semis for no reason. I mean, you're already trying to fight off, what is it, 70 players off to get into top 16, only to then, you know, have a close match in your quarterfinals. And now, you know, it's only 8 players remaining. We're going through this tournament obviously pretty quickly because it is a relatively, you know, quick tournament. Just what is it, half an hour between each match because of the format and whatnot. But it's definitely interesting to see how these players are stacking up against each other. Still ASEAN at the end of map 2 in the lead with 73 points, and the other 3 players not as close really, right? Boss Best on 49, Imant on 44, Kido on 34. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a bit of an extended 3-way fight with the way ASEAN's been driving.
Well, let's see. ASEAN is definitely looking as the favorite, but the field for that second slot is definitely gonna be very, very spicy. So ASEAN definitely showing he's as the favorite. All of these players are low-key like up-and-comers. Like, if there was like a third league in TMGL, I think this could be like that player field. That's just like one of the goals of this, is trying to just give that opportunity for players just to get that more match experience in, especially between like the bigger events. But yeah, so far a very solid round so far at the start. ASEAN, Bosbez and Aimat really fighting for that top 3 so far. ASEAN all the time in that minor lead. He just all those micro time saves, just they all add up and just put him at the sides, like in the front of the field due to that. Bosbez is trying to challenge him, but doesn't work out, and he pushes a bit too hard and pushes outside of the ball. Minor touch from Aimat as well. But Kiro is not that far away. Way too big of an oversteer from Aimat. A small touch from Aimat as well. But it's not enough for Kiro to overtake. Very good time from ASEAN as well. He just plays in his own level. Like, he's like, okay, this should be easy peasy. Like, no problem. Like, here.
He's in his own world. He's just driving, just a casual, you know, time attack setting sometimes. Just unbound the respawn key just in case, right? Because he's just cruising. He's just cruising. I mean, this is what I mentioned during the previous map, right? It's very much coming across as a player of extremes, either first places all the way or 4th place, because that's pretty much what he's been doing all match long, right? He had that 1 4th place because of a mistake on map 2, and other than that, it's been first place, first place, first place, first place, and I think it's just due to the way how he drives, and because he is very consistent throughout the map so far. It's really been paying off for him. Boss was close to Azion for quite a while there, but unfortunately steers a bit too early, hitting the inside of the wall, leaving Azion and Emod right now at number 1 and number 2. But Emod quite a ways behind, hitting the same wall as he did during the previous round. So once again, solidifying his number 4 spot unless Keto comes out of nowhere. This time around, though, no touching of any walls anymore for Emod. So second place is his. Azion on 93 points with this is ready for finalist mode. And I think from the way he's driving, I mean, sure, he needs second place, but it's going to be either first or fourth. That's pretty much it. I don't think he can drive anything else.
Honestly, this was a very important round, because that's the round where Azion basically puts himself into finalists now, potentially, if he gets that top 2. And also, Imod puts himself in that second position. One thing to note, that Imod is the bottom seed from the qualifier, so he was only seed 11. While everyone else was, like Azion was 2nd seed, Bosbus was 3rd seed, and Kiro was 7th seed, so him being like the bottom seed, now going into 2nd place so far, is a very nice mentality boost. Of course, it's like the gaps are so small in the peak pace wise, that you know it's not that many, but seems like we finally have a solid round on our hands. Azion is leading as always from this 4th group of pack of people. But there's a solid fight for second up. To way too big of a sick line from Kiro. Uses all of the space given and still tries to climb up in the second place. He has a better starting approach coming at the end part. Bosbus tried to utilize it properly. Azion does secure the finalist, and Kiro managed to squeeze himself into that +7 range. And due to that, it's now starting to a bit reduce the difference with all the players who are in that 2nd to 4th place range. But now Azion is now in finalist.
Finalist mode. I mean, with the way he's been driving, these times he's been setting up, I mean, he just drove a .08, right? And it's not as fast this time of the match. Which is ridiculous that he is able to just drive that pace as consistently as he has been doing so far. Definitely right now looking favored to take it all. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a fight between Azion and Ratchet during the finals. I mean, obviously this is going a bit forward on what actually might be going on, but what we've been seeing from the players, they are definitely looking like 2 players to really look out for. Azion at the moment in the lead, trying to secure his finalist spot. Keto attacking, not having had the best match so far, trying to redeem himself through this round at the moment, but losing quite some speed on the uphill right there. Azion, though, just cruising through the map, cutting through it like butter, and it's pretty much been that. Azion, 1st place or 4th place. That's it. That's all he's been driving, and it's been 1 4th place. And other than that, he's been dominating this match, and a very much deserved 1st place. And you can look at the points from the other players, right? Bossbus on 65, Emod on 64, and Keto on 58. The space between these 3 players right now in terms of points is definitely not big at all, right? 2nd place could be any of these players, but 1st place, come and gone, and that one will go to Azion.
Yeah, Azion's format match ended. He's now preparing for the real match. That will be the final, where he'll be awaiting with the player who will be the winner of this match and the 2 winners from the other match. So it's gonna be either Ratchet, Losso, Stuffs, or Elcon from the other semifinal, or the other winner. He probably did gain a lot of confidence, but now the real semifinal starts. So we have only 3 players and 1 slot remaining. So definitely, let's just say, giving that additional point is like going for that FastPoint to, like, you know, for that standings. There was a person in the chat who I saw that said, call the FastPoint points just fast points, but it's turning into this club as a currency. Like, how many clubs do you have in your club kind of thing, right? So I don't want to...
Yeah.
Let's just say FP points. Let's just say, use them. So it's like properly distinguishable. Yeah.
FP points, yeah. Sure, it stands for fast. I mean, you also have, like, ATM machine. ATM, like, is already a teller machine. It's not very uncommon to do that, but yeah. I think FP points. I think that's the way forward. I don't think you want to say F points. No.
Nah.
Yeah, FP points. I think that'll work. No, not that. All right, Marina, don't say that. No. Get out. No. But it does look like warm-up is over. 3 players remain, Azon in first place, obviously. So it's Bospez, Emot, and Kiro as we return to the first of our 3 maps in Wisteria. And we'll see which of the 3 will be the one to get the second spot in the finals right now. A fight between Kiro and Emot. And Kiro just really not having been driving the best race so far. I don't think he's happy with the performance he has had. Bospez with a bit of a clip, so it's going to be a fight for first and second between Kiro and Emot right now. And Kiro holding the lead fast, picking up 10 points of his own with a 42-point race all the time to kick things off on our 4th map. And a great way for him to start coming back into contention for 4th place. I think with that, it's just a few points. Yeah, just 3 points between everyone.
Yeah, small update from the other match. Seems like that at the moment Oloso and Ratchet are leading that match, and they're also closing in on finalists. Relatively close so far. Stuffs and Elcon are a bit falling behind the points, but those are the small updates, as Azion is the only player at the moment known who will be playing in the final. But yeah, very solid fight so far. All players are only between 3 points, and the top 2 from this match are even less than 100 of between each other. So it's the real fight starts right here on Cool. Only around like 4 to 5 rounds as Kiro. Unfortunate mistake and unfortunate bounce through the checkpoint as well. So he has to do a full standstill respawn as well. Wait, what is Bospez doing?
I mean, he hit the plastic wall. He just hit the corner of the plastic wall. And because of that, he bounced away from the finish.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Oh, that is so unfortunate. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, but it's also unfortunate Kiro didn't manage to finish and didn't get those extra 5 points that he really needs, as the field is so tight that based on the total points of this match, there's only 1 slot from these players is left for the final. So it's literally a 1v1v1 at the moment on who will be the second player from this match in the final.
Yeah, it's very, very detrimental, I will say. He was working very hard to get back into it, so that DNF just really, really cost him. Right now, though, in first place, so chance of redemption maybe, you know, starting to feel like he's coming into his zone. I almost want to say he's giving the players, you know, a bit of an advantage, but I don't think he should be doing that, as we see everybody going side by side towards the finish line. We see Bospez eventually sniping away that first place from Kiro, and I mean, a great ending to that round. Look at how close these times are between each other, right? Just 500ths of a second separating everyone. And Bospez and Emot at the moment 1 point separated. I think the way this is going, we're definitely gonna have a double finalist on our hands, and it's gonna be up to Kiro to try and get in between Emot and Bospez from closing out the match.
Yeah, Kiro definitely needs to step up his game, especially that one DNF really cost him those additional 5 points. But yeah, solid rounds from all of the 3 players, so it's gonna make it a bit more, like, way more difficult, as now pace is the main deciding thing for all 3 of them, and solid pace so far. Bospez with a small oversteer at the end, solid line from Imot, but it's not too much. He tried to risk it, he had a very sick grip there, while other Bospez and Kiro tried to give a bit more space, but Kiro will use that plus additional plus 10 points, gonna get that snipe on Bospez at the very end. But what they did is that Bospez and Kiro went a bit more to the left to give them more space to aim for the upcoming turn, while Imot went for the full risk inside line, and he even got the insta grip, which is really optimal. But he had too much speed, and he didn't get the best exit line due to that. He had those very solid risks there, as you had to risk in that situation, but sadly it did not pay off. And we're gonna go on looks like, I think that will be the last map where we'll be deciding the winner from this match. So Bospez is only 6 points away, Imot is only 9 points away. Kiro has to do a bit of work. If he hadn't missed those 5 points, he would have been...
It really hurts.
He would have been a round win away on potentially entering finalist in the upcoming round as well. But he can still have a sick combat. We're still playing the good old finalist format, so he still has a lot of room to wiggle. But if he will have a bit more additional pressure due to that. However, Bospez needs to get the top 2 finish. Imot needs to win, and Kiro, let's just say, needs to basically deny them is his main thing, and tries to just puts himself closer so the playing field is a bit more equal when coming on the upcoming round.
We'll see. I mean, I'm wondering if EMEA will be able to get that first place right away. I mean, BossBest on our previous route around the track was able to pick up second places relatively, first and second place relatively consistently. I mean, first place going to ASEAN, this being the only track where he was unable to get first places back to back to back to back. So, do think BossBest right now is the favorite of the 3 players, but never say never. And I mean, with this point difference, it can all come down to a good, bad round situation for any of these players right now. As we do get started, a great start from all the players making their way onto the tight pipe or tight rope, if you will. And no one really giving away an inch just yet. I mean, this is a map where players are driving very close to each other, right? Using the space available. I'm very curious to see what it's gonna come down to. EMEA at the moment in 3rd place. He really needs that first place to get into finalist mode. As BossBest is in 1st right now, Keto in 2nd. And I think BossBest, as long as he keeps his wheels on the floor on the left, he's gonna do just that. 10 points going his way. Finalist mode number 2. And he has 1 free shot at closing out the match, as EMEA does pick up 5 points with that. He just needs to finish one more time to get into finalist mode himself. So it's going to be out of Keto and EMEA to deny BossBest if they want to stay in the tournament in BossBest. 1 free shot.
Yeah,
see if he's
small
able to make it happen.
update from the other match that Loso will be gonna be the other finalist. So Loso pulling a small upset right there, despite Ratchet having a very sick quarterfinal. It was not possible, but now let's see. Will it be BossBest or it will be the other will it be either Imot or Kiro who might actually snap themselves into this in the final? Like, they really need to take that win away. However, BossBest is really sending it this round, already more than a full 10th. However, didn't get the best landing. Both of the Imot and Kiro got the trick at the end. He touches on the side. Imot currently is leading the field. He really needs to take the win away to put Kiro in that 2nd place to deny him the slot from entering the finals himself, and he does put it. Gets himself a more comfortable position, puts himself in finals together with BossBest, and due to that, denying Kiro that win right there puts him a bit more safe space, as it's not triple finalist just yet.
Not just yet. I mean, this again comes back to that DNF. It just hurts, right? It just hurts. You're 1 point away, but technically, you could have been finalist. Technically, you could have been finalist. It could have been triple finalist, and all coming down to this. But right now, Kiro is in a situation where he has to deny not only Boss, but also Emot. And right now, I mean, he is fighting hard with BossBest. Emot trailing up behind a bit, but BossBest actually losing some speed on the dirt section right there, picking up the 2nd place. And it's all going to come down to Kiro just having to keep it steady, keep it solid. He's able to do that. We will have a triple finalist situation and 1 more shot for each of these players to close out the match. Is it going to be enough for Kiro, or is Emot going to be able to overtake in the end? Does look like Kiro holds fast, holds true. We're going to go for triple finalist. This is going to be a sudden death situation for all 3 players.
Doesn't really have to comment to this. So what a sick comeback from Kiro. So deciding round, we had 3 players from all of the match. ASEAN was chilling and he finished his finalists like a while ago. So now we have a 3-way finalist. The winner does manage to secure a slot into the final with Loso and the 2nd place from the other match. So it's a very tight, and the decider map will be Costa. So at the moment, BossBest is leading, has this minor up advantage. B2 avoids the oversteer from the Amosa. Does have way more exit speed with that early entry on the dirt scene. Now it all comes down on how much XP do they get at the very end. Very similar speed. Diamond has a tiny bit more speed. BossBest does get way too early air brake. Doesn't get the additional bounce that gives additional speed, but so far he's still leading the field. Imot is very close. Gets a small oversteer at the very end. Gets a little bit more extra speed out of it. However, everyone is very close. Kiro has a lot more extra speed comparing to everyone else. It looks like BossBest will still be securing it at the end with a 0.77 at the end. And BossBest will be the 2nd player from this match. Despite Kiro having a very strong fight from the very bottom, climbed himself back to the finals, but BossBest was still the player at the top that managed to secure the win in the end. Bit unfortunate from Kiro's side, but GG's to Imos and Kiro. They were the bottom seeds in this match, but still managed to take the dubs in the end. So yeah, at the moment, from the current result informations that I have, is that, of course, as I mentioned, Loso will be one of the players who will be witnessing now in the final. The other player was Ratchet, and Elcon was in 3rd place, and Stuffs was 4th. So sadly, those were the players who did not manage to sadly secure the finalist in the very end. It was quite close. Selkan was managed to reach the finalists, but now we're soon going to be going into the finals. So we'll have Loso, Ratchet, Bossbez, and Ezian. We actually saw all of the 4 players so far, and who do you think would be the potentially favorite? As we're going to go to a final, one thing to note, that this final will be played till only one winner. So the second and third, fourth place will be determined based on how many points they have or how early did the player manage to reach the finalist. If the finalist was reached in the same round, then the player who had the fastest round gets the tiebreaker advantage in that case. So it's basically if you had a solid match overall till that point, you get an advantage. Also, it also to remove this anticlimaticity with what we're playing for first, second, and third. So that will be the system used. We'll be playing to 140 points. But we have our 4 players known, and who do you think will be the player who come out on top?
I mean, going from what we've seen from all players so far, I would say, I mean, maybe because we just saw him just cruise and dominate, but at the same time putting down amazing times. I would say Azion is the one that I would favor right now from all 4 players, because it's also ridiculous to think that from the way Bossbez, Loso, and Ratchet have been playing, they've been playing amazing as well. But I feel like Azion kind of has been in a league of his own, just looking so comfortable in the way he's driving, and I think that's been very beneficial. And I think that's going to benefit him a lot when it comes to the finals. Though, I mean, I can't really count out Ratchet either, also doing a fantastic job. Loso likewise, right, picking up first place over Ratchet in the semifinals. So clearly, he's starting to get in the zone as well, right? Maybe a bit of a rough start on the quarterfinals, but clearly picking up the pace right now. I think the underdog of it all probably will be Bossbez, I would say. I think Bossbez would be my dark horse in this one. I'd be excited to see him win it all, right? After a very rough fight against Azion, who has to take on again. So I'm curious to see if he has the confidence to really pick up the pace and give Azion a fight. But it's going to be a tough one.
We'll see how it will. We'll see how it will end up. But before that, we'll have a small look back on how the tournament started today. So we started with the time attack qualifier, where we had over 70 players who played in the qualifiers. Then we cut down to the top 16. So we had Ratchet, Azion, Bossbez,